Hey yo, this episode is on you, on you, on me, on us. They say that the greatest constant in life is change. After living this life for several years, I discovered that that wasn't true. What I found is that the greatest constant in life is you, me, myself, and I. Because I'm here, you're here, we're here through all the changes. In fact, for most of us, we are the source of many of the changes that occur in our lives. But I always find it interesting how this world works very deliberately to externalize most aspects of our life. We almost are always looking outside of ourselves for something: help, hope, opportunity, money, spirituality, entertainment, whatever it is. We're always consistently looking outside of ourselves for that which we believe ourselves to either be in a deficit of or void of, if not for this external thing. So imagine when my awareness took over and when I found out that no, the only constant in life isn't change. The only constant truly in my lifetime is going to be me. So the goal for us is to build a foundation on which we can stand throughout the changes, the shifts in mindset, the awarenesses, relationships, financial stability or instability, fear, courage. It might come to some surprise to some people who know me in real life that listen to this podcast. Shout out to you, thank you. That I used to have extreme anger issues. And when I say extreme anger issues, I mean there's probably 1 to 2 houses that I've lived in where there wasn't a hole punched in the wall. It is what it is. I'm grateful for growth and self-awareness, maturity, and healing. So I remember in my late 20s, I ended up going to a therapist in New York City, and I probably had a recent outburst, something that made me feel ashamed of the anger that would rise up in me and therefore come out of me. So I mentioned it, this therapy session. I don't remember exactly what I had done, but it must have been weighing on me heavily. I feel energy in a way that I'm sure other people do and may not be as unique to myself as I might think it is. And oftentimes I realize that we sometimes think that it's only an experience or reality of me because I haven't opened my mouth and said anything where somebody else can say, oh, me too. So I mentioned it to him because my energy was still all messed up from the experience. And I can feel energy, like I know when I'm heated, the energy is truly boiling over and my head gets tight and I can't help but act out. And I talked to this therapist about it and he keyed in on that. Now, he was a therapist, psychiatrist to be exact, and it's highly possible that he knows more than I did at the time, especially, and even do now. But for me, I wanted to talk about other things. Like, I was talking to you about an incident that occurred. It hasn't occurred in recent weeks. I'm over it. But every time I come and sit down at this therapy session, he wants to talk about my anger. And I'm like, well, I have some other things I would like to talk to you about that would be even more helpful in this moment, but he really wanted to deal with this anger. So, being as though I was still angry back at that time, that pissed me off and made me angry. So I decided that I was going to move on from this therapist. Before I did, he gave me a book that was called Control Your Anger or Your Anger Will Control You. Oh, okay, cool. So I've got this book and I flipped through a few pages and, as always, this book wasn't really written with my experiences in life in mind. So beyond the fact that I had no therapist anymore and I had this tool as a book that I wasn't really interested in reading, it dawned on me that the only real person that can change who you are is you. You can read this book and you can go on and read several more. And you get another therapist and another incident might happen where anger comes up and the results of you losing your shit is brought up to work through, and you can get up from that chair, walk back out into New York City, and somebody bump into you, and you're right back to losing your shit. So what I realized in that moment was the only person that can shift and change this is you, bro. There's no amount of articles or books that you can read. There's no amount of sitting down on a couch and spilling out your trauma, your PTSD, the reasons why you react the way that you react. There's no amount of that will stop you from punching a hole in the wall besides you standing there and deciding in that moment not to punch a hole in the wall and doing something constructive versus destructive. The only person that can do that is you. And that was a big aha moment for me, because up until that time, I believed, just like everyone else, the only way I'm going to receive help for any issue, I've got to go outside of myself, because I don't have it in me to make the change. If I did, I would have changed already. Not realizing that the change was me. So I went on to continue my healing process with that awareness. And this is the thing about awareness for me, is that once you can take ownership of something, you can now have agency over it. So you can't do anything about what you didn't know before you knew it. That's impossible. You can only grow up, mature, experience things, people, life, both great and ugly, for you to begin to discover who you are and how you create the life that you want in every way that you want to change it. See, mine was an energy issue, very low vibrational. And I'm going to be honest with you all in this moment. I don't feel like we know each other well enough yet, because there are things that I will say and want to say as I move further in this podcast. I'm a hugely metaphysical, esoteric, spiritual revolutionary. I think critically, and I'm very, very clear on the fact that even our free will is socialized. I never claim to know everything, but what I do know is that I am introducing myself to those of you who are listening to the podcast and getting to know me for the first time, and I am quite possibly reintroducing myself to people that I simply have not shared my inner inners, so to speak. It's not that I haven't been authentic or genuine or shared my heart in every situation that I'm in. It's just that there are some things that I could say where you might have socialized alarm bells going off. So just know that I'm working to completely give of myself in each story that I tell, but also that I am accessing my right to self-ownership and being vulnerable and transparent purposefully. And I share that because I think more of us could understand that that's our right, that we get to hold space for ourselves even as we open up space for others. So back to this realization that I'm the only person who can create the life that I want. And one of the things that it starts with is finding out what my 100% is. And I'll explain what I mean by that. So in my relationships, I'm a partner, I'm a parent, I'm a friend, I'm somebody's child. And in each of these roles that I am, it's up to me to figure out what I want my 100% to be in each of these relationships, no matter what. See, again, when we are external minded, we think what they do dictates what I do. How they act dictates how I act. What they say will dictate what I say. And for me, that is how we have allowed this external ideology of relationships create dysfunction and unhealthy communication styles, ways of being, behaviors, and the like. So, my 100% in my relationship with my wife. I want to be supportive, loving, kind, gentle, peaceful, content, provisionary, helpful, lovable, likable. The list could go on. But if I say those are my 100% in this relationship, and I'm standing on business, right? I'm standing on my square, then there shouldn't be anything that my love does that causes me not to be any of those things that I set my 100% on. I identified, I defined. This is me. This is who I will be in this relationship, regardless of how she shows up, who she is, what changes she might be going through, if she ain't fucking with me at this moment. Regardless of all those things, I'm standing on my 100%. Don't get me wrong. I'm a reactive human. And I'm a Scorpio. So I'm a moody and broody ass sometimes. So I'm not saying I don't get this messed up, and I'm not saying that we don't have reactionary moments. But I'm saying overarchingly, I have an anchor to draw from. I said my 100% is that I'm going to be loving. So that means no matter how messy this is, I've got to love. And love is not judgment. I'll save that for another episode. But if love is not judgment, then I either decide to be with whoever you are in this moment or not. But I don't get to judge you. I can hold you high, you can hold me high, but I don't get to judge you. I can either love you or leave you alone. So, as a parent, what am I going to be? I'm going to be loving. I'm going to provide guidance. I'm going to listen. I'm going to care for you, whatever it is, 100%, no matter what I have agreed to be at my 100% with and for them. What's my 100%? Who am I as a friend? Who am I as a brother? As a leader? How do I stay base level at my 100%? And how do I work very, very hard to make sure that my 100% stays solid? It's my foundation after all. It's how I'm going to be able to hold steady when this stranger says, that's what I call everybody who ain't me. I don't know you. I mean, I know you, but I don't know you. My grandma taught me something very smart early on, and that's don't put nothing past nobody, okay? And so, yeah, I've been with my wife for 20 years. She a wild card. I don't know what she gonna do. My children, all wild cards. One day I think I know you, second minute I'm like, who the fuck are you? And what did you do with my person? Truly, nothing goes without me and me being in my world. I am the main character. And that's not to say that other people are my supporting cast. You're the main character in your world. That's the point of this conversation. I'm not sharing anything but an observation of this life that we're having, this human experience where I begin to recognize that this world wants us to exclusively look outside of ourselves. Everything that we are and need to be is right here, from within. You is sacred. That sounded like broken English. You is sacred.
The total number of people who have ever been born? Number's about 100 billion. How many total humans are possible? That number is astronomically large. It is 10 to the 30th power, which is a billion, trillion, trillion. It's likely even bigger than that, which means, in practical terms, no one who will ever be born will be identical to you, first of all, in every way. But that's not the most important fact. It's that we're the lucky ones. A point made by Richard Dawkins, more poetically than I can recite here. We're the lucky ones. We're the ones who get to die, because you only get to die for having lived.
Wow. See, I couldn't have said that better. As you listen to that clip and you understand that you are here and now. I always tell people, my clients, when we sit down, we have these big goals and they're looking to find their purpose and they want to see themselves in 5 years. I eventually get them into a mindset that we can work together. And that mindset is be here now. Be here now. What's funny is that we can make up a plan to walk across the street. I'm talking about my city folks. Go to the bodega, get a bag of chips, walk back across the street and go into the house and sit down and eat those chips. That's a plan. And it's a plan for the future. And you can go outside of your house and start across the street. And here comes a livery van and knocks that plan right out of you. That plan never transpired. It was only a plan for the future. All future plans are bogus. Even me saying I'm gonna get up from here after I finish recording and go do something else. How many people sit down and never get back up? It's all bogus. And I'll go into another episode on that because I don't want to diverge from this conversation of you, but being here now presently is something that we've got to get more engaged with. But back to you. I remember one morning in my man cave in Jersey City, and one of my youngest was turning 21. And I was like, wow, they're turning 21. And I nearly had a panic attack because I was once 21. It was like, damn, I'm 20 plus years beyond that. Fuck, if I had known what I know now. Damn, if I could do things all over again, will I still have time? All that happened in a minute on the treadmill. And then I got my shit together because the treadmill was still moving and I didn't want to go up against that wall. But the point is that I started thinking about my life and I got to work. I believe I mentioned in another episode how almost 10 years ago, I was at my lowest point. And not that I haven't been at some pretty fucking low points since then, because I have. But at that time, I can truly say that I didn't know that I was contributing to most all the things that were occurring in my life at that time. I just was along for the ride. And things were happening around and to me, but nothing was happening because of me and my awareness at that time. So when I started that hero's journey in 2016, as I mentioned, my relationship was at its breaking point. I was almost an empty nester, and I had just transitioned into a new decade of life. And I mentioned laying in that bed and saying to myself, this can't be the summation of your life. And I talked to you all about one of the haikus and say, let's call it justice. Some people die an asshole, don't be some people. And I can guarantee you that if I checked out at any point before that moment, I would have died an asshole. No awareness, no emotional intelligence. My neurodivergence has always been straight no chaser, don't know how to filter what I've got to say. So either I'm going to shut the hell up or it's coming out. And when it comes out, I've said what I'm going to say. Apathy around the fact that despite any of this, I felt powerless because I still didn't recognize that it was me. There was no one else to save me or no one else to blame. It was me. And because I didn't yet recognize that, it was in the spell. It's outside somewhere. It's external. There was nothing but chaos and confusion. And some of us can be a master of chaos and confusion, especially when we are doing it to ourselves. But then, oh man, we can truly visit it on others as well. They say you can't love other people until you love yourself. That's false. And I'll go into that another time, but that's false. But if we want to use that same framework of a statement, you can't be somebody else's peace until you're your own source of peace. That one is unequivocally true. You cannot be anyone else's peace until you are yourself peaceful and peace-filled. And I had to learn that the hard way. And so it was in my quiet moments where my awareness began to grow. My emotional intelligence, this is how I'm contributing to the scenarios. My life, my disappointments, my setbacks. These are the things that you have done specifically to be an active participant in the life that you are living that you don't want. Me, personally, I did that. Sure, I can point at certain scenarios and situations, but more often than not, I'm the one that placed myself in that. I'm still the source. If you drill down from what occurred, who was involved, how that person was left feeling, or how you were left feeling, you can keep drilling it down more often than not to the source, which is you, especially for what you experience. Forget the other person. And so as I realized that I was the only one that could shift or change my life into what I actually wanted to be, then that's when I got active. That's when I locked in for almost 3 years of self-awareness work. And all of this taught me that if it's to be, it's up to me. If it's to be, it's up to you. If you want your life to look any different, the only person that can step into that direction is you. And then as you continue to move yourself forward, other people, opportunities, places, and things will emerge as you step into your present desire to be fulfilled and create the life that you want to experience. You is sacred. Everything that you've gained up until this point, because this point is what matters. Whatever time you're listening to this, everything that has occurred is an up until now moment. Then we get to move forward with that information. From this point forward, if we want something to shift, what's the thing that we do next that shifts it? Not next year, next month. What's the thing that you do the moment that this episode comes to an end, where throughout the episode or right now, something sparked that said, I'm going to make a change. As soon as I said that, Michael Jackson's song came into my mind, Man in the Mirror. But it's apropos, really. It is. Because, do I have to say it again? Change is not the only constant. You are the only constant. And you adapt and you adjust to any change that occurs. But it can't happen without you. The life that you want and envision for yourself cannot happen without you. If you want something else, you're going to have to step into that specific arena. It is what it is. I didn't make the rules. Manifestation of self can only occur with you in the game. There's another quote I have in Say Less, Call It Justice that I think is very important for those of us who are ready, and I'm always ready. Like, I'm always down to move forward, shift timelines, mindsets, whatever is going to make me feel better in the spirit and in this life and lighten up the burdens on my mind. I'm always here for it. And so there's a quote that people hear me say often, but it's also in my book. As you manifest your vision manifests you. And that's how I'm going to end this episode. The vision that you have will begin to manifest you. It doesn't happen without you. So everything that you've endured, everything that you've been resilient around, all the things that you pressed through and pushed forward, you did that. Somebody might have helped you, but you asked for help. You took the support. You reached for it. The position that you're in, and we talk about this imposter syndrome. If you know, like, we all have started to realize that this is such a socialized issue that we have. So if you dismantle that for a second and you just think about the fact that you don't have to be in that room, in that position with this access, you don't have to be it, but you are. So take that, recognize that, so you can now move on to the next thing. See, the problem with most of us is that we get chosen and we still haven't chosen ourselves. Because again, that's wrapped up in external measurement. And while you're waiting to be chosen for whatever it is, a relationship, a job, an experience, you get chosen, but you have yet to choose yourself. And then you wonder why that didn't work out quite how you wanted it to. You got to choose yourself. And I don't want to say you have to do it first. Sometimes the only way we grow and discover love and softness and emotional intelligence is while being loved. That's why I say it's not true to say that you can't love someone before you love yourself. Sure, we have. Before we even knew what love was, we loved the people around us. But again, it can be expanded on. So leave it there. Understand how powerful you are. The improbability of you sitting right here, listening to the sound of my voice right now, the improbability of me sitting right here with all the life that I've lived, all the experiences, all the times where I was threatened to be taken out and or threatened myself. I'm still here. Me, you, us. But this is on you. Your life is on you. This has been Grumpy Wisdom. I'm Talib Jasir. Until next time, peace. Hey, yo, if this episode sparks something in you, don't keep it to yourself. Follow or subscribe, rate the show, drop a review, and pass it on. Want to see the episode videos? Become a member of the Grumpy Wisdom Inner Circle on Patreon to unlock exclusive content, early access, and a fresh scene every 3 episodes. Join now at patreon.com/grumpywisdom. To explore more of my creative work or connect professionally, head to talibjasir.com. And podcast fam, if you create, produce, or move in audio, don't miss the 7th annual Afros in Audio Podcast Festival, October 16th through the 19th in Baltimore. Details at afrosinaudio.com. All links are in the show notes. Thank you for listening. Let's ride.